Okay, so my center, we're going to talk about differentiation kind of in general, and so just some reminders and some tips for you to use in your classroom. So I'm going to use an anchor chart with you, and let me just remind you about anchor charts. They're really important when you're doing instruction with children, especially that core instruction. They are not effective if you don't make those charts with the children. So if you're going to do an anchor chart, you either need to do it a couple of ways. You either create it with them in front of you, or you need to create it and reveal a little bit of it at a time so that they're seeing that and participating in that. So I'm going to actually create the first one with you guys, and then I'll reveal with the other groups as we go through. So I wanted to share these texts with you. This is Diane Hecox, and this is Carolyn Thomason. These are actually the texts that I'm using for my class right now. Both of them are kind of a step-by-step to differentiation. Ms. Coxsaddle's ordering some of these for us. Maybe next fall before we have any money, because you know we're kind of broke right now. But we're hoping to do a book study with that so that we can kind of walk through, because it gives, down to the detail of how to do differentiation. This one is a little bit more, she gives lots of resources to use in your classroom to get you to know your kids better, things about mapping, basically the UBD mapping that we are doing with Swain Core, she does that in here. We actually had to do that for our class. Okay, just a reminders about differentiation. So the first thing, because it's Swain County and because Sam says so, we're using our timers, okay? And we're seeing that for the most part being used really well and utilized. I think there's a little bit of tweaking we need to do to make sure the transitions are smooth and we're not wasting time in between. And we're going to talk a little bit about it as we go through. So one thing you can do to make sure this transitions are smooth is have your rotation chart. So you saw our rotation chart up on the, I'm spelling that correctly, I am, up on the board in there. It's very important that your rotation chart is somewhere in the room so the kids can see it, because we don't want to spend time in between each rotation saying, Lee, you need to go here, Allison, you need to go here, Patty, you need to go here. Because I'm seeing that a little bit, and so by the time I do that for the whole class, in between every rotation, I've wasted a whole rotation time after it's all over with. So we want to make sure that it's up, the kids know what to do, we've practiced that routine, and they're ready to go within that. Okay, another thing we want to talk about is grouping. So most teachers have like 20 kids, let's say, and so they're doing 4 rotations, so they're doing 5 in each group. But that may not be the best grouping situation for your children. It may be that Lee needs a group by herself, or Lee and Allison need a group by herself, and Patty's group might have 7 kids in it rather than 5. So we want to make sure we're giving them that instruction that they need at the right time, as we quoted that Lorna Earl quote, and making sure that those kids are getting what they need. Because I know, like, in a 5th grade classroom right now I'm thinking of, there's one kid in there, he's here, and all the other kids are at least here or above. There's no touching the same levels there. So he really needs a group by himself. And so we need to think about doing that. Also with our grouping, and I'm going to put number size right there, the types of grouping that we need to do